Welcome to I Collect, where I show you what I've collected. And today, I'm going to be going over the PS Vita collection, everything I've been able to put together so far for this new handheld system. Let me just say that I'm a big fan of take it with you. Like, I love the idea that these games can now go with me and be played all the time. And especially since I'm so busy, I'm always on the move, I'm always out and about. And because of that, it can be difficult to sit down with my console games sometimes. I only get a couple hours a week. And to rectify this problem, just like a smoker takes his pack of cigarettes with me, I can haul my games around. And it's so different now compared to what we used to have. I remember when Game Boy was a big deal, and now with the 3DS and the PlayStation Vita, games are at the console levels. Like, we're gonna get some amazing stuff going on here soon, and I don't know. I don't know what to tell you here, except for that I'm always excited to see the next handheld thing. And I mean in terms of portable gaming aside from things like your iPhone and whatnot. That's not to say that that's a credible system, because there are some good games coming out that are going to be heavy hitters for that too. But I'm just customary to traveling around with something that's more like a controller. And seeing things like the new Smash Brothers that's coming out soon, and that it's going to be available on the 3DS, and it's going to be almost just as good. Gaming has reached a level now where even somebody like me that doesn't get a lot of time to play games can always take it with you like a smoker's addiction, and it's just what we always needed and wanted. So let's go ahead and get into this so we can get it done. First thing I'd like to show you is Wipeout 2048. Now, one thing about these is that this thing is tiny. Look. These are tiny games. And for those of you that haven't seen one of the games, it goes in this little slot right here. That's it. That's it. It's that. That's the game. So these cases are more important than they've ever been. They're real small, they fit on your shelf, they don't take a whole lot of room up, but they are extremely important compared to what you used to think. A Game Boy game was easy to misplace. These things, if they fall on the floor and you walk away, you may not find it again, especially if you have a dog. This thing is gone forever. But to tell a little bit about this game, it's a racing game. It's fast. It's way fast. Tough to control sometimes. But is it bad? No, it's actually a lot of fun, and it's one of those type of racers that I like, where they incorporate weapons into the game so you can shoot missiles and do boosts and things like that. More like a kart racer, but taken seriously. It's definitely worth you checking out. The next thing was my Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Now, this game is pretty sweet because you can actually play against people online that are playing Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on their PlayStation 3. And that's where I mean how these games are just exactly the same. Now, for those of you that don't know, and I'm not sure why you wouldn't know, it's pretty solid fighter. It's of course Capcom fighting game, and it's done really well, and I don't know that I can talk too much bad about it. Not that I exactly love it. I'm still a bigger fan of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but I still have to give it to them. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 did exactly what we needed it to do. It gave us more Marvel vs. Capcom. And if they wouldn't have been so lazy on the DLC, I would give them a lot more credit. But simply giving me a Mega Man skin, there's no excuse for that. I wanted the character, not the skin. You knew that. This, I think, is one of the best games, if not the best game, on the entire system. This, Persona 4 Golden. Persona 4 was already great. Take into account that this game looks better, plays better, has more options, more storyline, more voice acting, and is just an all-around more enjoyable experience with even more level grinding, and you learn more things on top of what you already used to learn, access to new summons. This game is great. This game is great. this game is great. Now that I've said it 3 times, I hope you understand that this game is great. If I recommend one game today, just one, it's this. This is the RPG dream. Takes a little while to start. I'm going to be honest with you. The first 2 hours is basically storyline accumulation. But after that, you will never forget your Persona 4 Golden experience. You just won't. I sometimes go by the call name Solid Bill. Almost never, really. I haven't used it, but maybe one time in a couple games. But the Metal Gear Solid HD Collection was released on the PS Vita. Do I have something bad to say on top of it? Okay, it looks great, it plays great. It's Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3. If you play Metal Gear Solid 2 or 3, you can save, come home, play it on your console on the big screen, transfer the save back, take it with you again and continue further. That's great. That I'm sold on. The fact that Peace Walker was cut out, I'm not sure if it was a size issue. I believe it was a lazy issue. I can't say this 100%, but it's what I believe. I believe that it could have been on here. They just didn't want to do it for us. That marks it down a bit, but it's still a fantastic game. Moving on, this is Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet, if you liked it on the PlayStation, you'll love it on your PS Vita. If you liked it on your PSP, you'll love it on your PlayStation Vita. It's still just as creative, just as amazing, just as weird, just as inventive as it's ever been, and I really feel like you'll have a great time with this. The only thing I guess I could say is not good is that it doesn't really connect back and forth with the PS3. You can't play part 1 or part 2 and then transfer things over or transfer things from this into those. They do stand alone, and while that's a little bit of a deal breaker, it's not enough to tell you not to buy this game. If you liked it on the other platforms, it's still just as solid here. And you can take it with you. Dynasty Warriors is one of those games that has pretty much lost its edge with me. I like the Dynasty Warrior Gundam, but I don't really care for Dynasty Warrior people anymore. But this changed my opinion. When I got Dynasty Warrior Next, it felt fresh again, and I had a great time playing it. Just an absolute great time. Now, Dynasty Warriors is one of those games that gets marked down for being repetitive. Well, there's a very simple thing here. You get a guy, he's a hard ass, you beat down thousands upon thousands of enemies, and no man who ever wielded a blade came close to the power that you have in your hands. And that's all this is. But it's done very well. And the last couple Dynasty Warriors, I really didn't care for them. I was bored with them. I've been playing a lot of Dynasty Warrior Gundam 1, 2, and 3 because these just lost their edge with me. And if the next Dynasty Warriors that comes out follows more something like this, then I'll come back to it. Dungeon Hunter Alliance. This game is pretty much the exact same on this that it was on the PS3. As much as I've said I like the idea of taking the game with me, it's a little bit of a cop-out. I beat the game and I had a good time. But they just could have done more. I feel like there should have been its own adventure, like Dungeon Hunter Alliance, the portable experience or something, where they give me like some extra dungeons or something. And just for the sake of it, here's the little, see how small that is? That's wild, right? Was I kidding? Don't drop these games. Dead or Alive 5. Now, I'm a huge Dead or Alive fan. I like every Dead or Alive. I've played all Dead or Alives, and this is pretty sweet, actually. I really like this game. Dead or Alive 5 is already one of my favorite fighting games anyway, and now to be able to take it with me, and an extra added bonus, any downloadable content that you pick up for your PS3 is automatically, well, you have to hook it up to your PS3 unless you have the other version of the system. There are two versions of the Vita, and I'm not going to get into it. Suffice to say, one runs on a Wi-Fi and one runs on like a 3G network. So if you have the 3G network, it's probably automatic. If not, you're going to have to hook up to your Wi-Fi or whatever. But anything that you buy for the PlayStation, you can put on here, no charge. So it's pretty sweet. It's like a 2-for-1 deal. And it plays very, 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 very close to the PS3. So if you practice on this when you're out going places, when you come home, you're going to be rocking it. I literally got better playing at work, like during my breaks. I played like for like 6 days just straight, just pounding out Legendary mode. And when I came back and started playing on my controller again, all of it carried over, and I was able to do the same combos and have the same, like, it didn't hurt me to move from this system to the next system, and that is really hard to do, so kudos to you guys. Then, Blaze Blue, Blaz Blue, whatever you want to call it, Extended. All I can say about these games is every time they come out, it makes me say, man, I wish there was a new Guilty Gear. And sadly, this does just that. It makes me want to play Guilty Gear. Next is what they considered to be the RPG launch title, Army Corpses of Hell. Trying way too hard to be hardcore, when essentially this game is like Pikmin. Getting corpses of hell and they follow you around and you tell them to attack or build structures or whatever, and for me it did not feel like an RPG. I'm way more into the Japanese RPGs. I like guys with big swords and women with ridiculous attributes. Not trying to be disrespectful, but it's just something that we see in anime. And if I could have had like Crimson Gem Saga for the PSP, that's kind of what I wanted for my PS Vita, was another game like that. Just an old style menu based, walk around, random encounters, or see them on the map and do my battle. Like, that's what I wanted, and it's not what I got. And it took until Persona 4 to really give me an RPG experience on this thing. And I think that's about the only one I've had. And since I'm really into RPGs, I feel like I've been excluded a little bit from the PlayStation Vita. But there's a lot of solid titles here. And I just wanted to go over some of the ones that I have and tell you a little bit about it. So, till the next I collect, see you guys around.